Donald Trump seems to have a hard time conceding his defeat in America's 2020 elections. His body language is quite interesting and, believe it or not, at table, his lips and the physical support of Melania Trump play a major role. Stay tuned. As always, if you find it interesting watching my analysis and my body language tip, please share it with friends and give it a thumbs up. I'm also curious about your comments. Now, coming back to Donald Trump's body language, I did quite a few analysis because his body language is very notable. And there were a couple of scenes in the last days where I think we should have a closer look. Number one, this infamous press conference where Donald Trump didn't sit on his ordinary table or at his speaking desk. No, he was sitting at a small table. This table was a little bit lower and it was also very much smaller than the tables he used to sit on. Now, we don't know the reasons exactly why, but this has a major impact on his appearance. Why is that? A big table is always a signal of power. Imagine when you had your first job, you had to share your table with someone. The higher you stepped up your career, the bigger the tables got, and at some point you were allowed to use it all alone. Now, when you go to your CEO's office, you see a huge desk. And on the side, there is also a meeting table, which is also big. And if you go to the board of your company, you will see a huge table. Believe it or not, some tables are so big that they have to be brought into the office even before the building is completed. Now, talking about signals of power. They have a lot of disadvantages because the distance speaking to other people is so far. But if you sit on the head of one of those tables, you really are up in the A level. And when we see the ordinary desk of American presidents, they are always big. And actually, they got bigger and bigger. And Donald Trump, don't know why, but he preferred to sit on this small table. And that is why half of the internet made fun of him, because he, a person who likes to see himself as a powerful person, as a successful person, chose the table of a job beginner. Well, that is strange. That is one for you. If you want to appear powerful, don't use a camping table. Use the biggest table you can get. Although it always creates a little bit of distance. So if you want to have fun with your neighbors, if you want to have a really nice evening, the camping table would be the table of choice. And one thing else, his chair is very low at that press conference. And that makes him appear very small. If you see the figure of Donald Trump, his body, you see his head, his shoulders, but the lower part of his body appears very small. What does us remind that of? Of course, of a child. So, in my opinion, that didn't go very well aligned with his desire of a powerful appearance. And maybe people couldn't describe it exactly why it is, but the reasons are: number one, the table is too small; number two, he sits too low. And that is also for you. Always try to have an appearance that goes aligned with the desire of how you want to be perceived by others. If you want to be a powerful person, if you want to be someone who shows that he has a lot of power, choose a table that is big enough, and the position of your chairs and the height of your chairs should be accordingly. Number two, the tense of his muscles. That is quite high. Where can you see it? You can see it in those small motions he does. If we are completely relaxed, we turn a little bit slower. If we are tensed up, we move like he does it.
Well, I'm thrilled to be on line with heroic members of the United States military, incredible people.
Observers got there, they wanted them 60, 70 feet away, 80 feet, 100 feet away.
Number two, he rocks a little bit up and down, and that is also a signal of tension within him. And number three is the lips, especially his lower lip is always working quite hard, quite big motions, but not those relaxed motions. Those are motions that draw more energy than would be necessary for talking to us. And that is always a signal. If the body invests in one motion more energy than would be necessary, it is in most of the cases a signal that there is more tension within that body. And that is for you. If you want to appear self-confident, you want to appear relaxed, because a relaxed body shows there is no tension, which is most of the times a preparation for fighting or fleeing. And that is why you should reduce the tension of your muscles. And that is why you wouldn't show motions with your lower lips like he did it. And we had another scene which was a Thanksgiving speech, a greeting to the nation. Interestingly, Melania Trump's position here is something we should have a closer look at, because normally she would turn to the photographers, to the journalists. But what does she do? She turns in a 45-degree angle towards her husband. And of course, that is not by accident, that is planned. Obviously, she wants to show that she concentrates on her husband, on the words of her husband, and her connection to him is closer than her desire to be well seen on the photos. That is always a little bit of giving up your own personality and turning to the person who is speaking. Actually, if you are speaking with a colleague in front of other people, that is a good idea. So you build some sort of a connection. And it is always strange if two people are speaking and they don't watch each other while the other one is speaking. And that is the same with Melania Trump. The only thing is she doesn't speak. She's only the company for her husband. But Donald Trump pays back bigly, as he would put it. It seems that he's a little bit scared of touching that big bird. He only dares to touch it when he's allowed to grab Melania's arm.